Good morning, my friends. Happy Tuesday. Happy Real Estate Tuesday. I hope you're all having an outstanding, fabulous day. I woke up and I'm working on my fourth pot of coffee. Not really, but maybe my fourth cup here. Yes, I drink a lot of coffee. People say too much coffee is bad for you. No, now the studies say coffee is really, really good for you. I have been drinking at least one pot of coffee since I used to do construction. So decades. I think that's one reason why I'm not as unhealthy as I probably should be. Thank you for being my friends. Thank you for being my subscribers. And if you're not, boom, please smash that subscribe, smash a like, share my video, and tell your friends. Wait. Black too. Black is beautiful, my friends. All right. This Real Estate Tuesday video is because one of my friends, one of my subscribers, asked me this question in the comments on one of my other real estate videos, which never get very many views, except for my most diehard friends. Thank you, my diehard friends. He said, what about reverse mortgages? And I was like, I gave him like a little thumbnail, and I'm going to give you maybe two thumbnails today because it's a very specialized loan. They are not for everyone. If you get a federally backed reverse mortgage, they make you attend a counseling class just to make sure you know exactly what you're doing. When I used to see Tom Selleck and other people pushing reverse mortgages, I was like, oh, Tommy boy, really? They're good for some, but not for everybody. And I would just caution you, before you do a reverse mortgage, be very careful. Kind of like be careful when you do a HELOC or a home equity line or a home fixed home loan, a second mortgage. Just be careful when you take equity out of your Vanguard account that you're living in. So what is a reverse mortgage? So a reverse mortgage is the opposite of a regular mortgage. So instead of a regular mortgage, you get a mortgage to buy a house. Well, with the reverse mortgage, you already own the house. And for you could have a mortgage on it and still get a reverse mortgage, because the reverse mortgage would be used to pay off the existing mortgage and still get you your money. So a reverse mortgage is this. You live in your home. It's got to be your primary residence, can't be an investment, and you want to take equity out right away. And you don't want to pay it back until some triggering event. And that triggering event is normally death. So you have a home that is worth $500,000. Typically, the lenders will let you take about 80%. They used to let you take a lot more. Now they're a little bit more conservative. So let's say that you could get a reverse mortgage for $400,000. So you get that $400,000 and you don't need to pay it back until there's a triggering event. So reverse mortgages are for people 62 or older. It's your primary residence, not an investment, and you have equity in it. You have to have some equity because you're pulling that equity out. You're pulling the equity out like a HELOC or a fixed second mortgage, but you're not making any payments yet. That's the key difference. You're not making any payments yet, not until there's some triggering event. If you owe the federal government any money, you will not be able to get one. So if you owed, for example, the IRS or tax liens, anything like that, you have to square that away before you could get a reverse mortgage. And so you have primarily two kinds. Government-backed, I told you, the government, federal FHA-backed, they make you take a home class to make sure you know exactly what you're doing. And privately backed, meaning less rules and restrictions. It's their money. They can do what they want, but you need to verify to make sure you're not getting scammed. You're not getting ripped off. These are typically safer. Government-backed Federal rules, federal laws, federal guidelines, protection for you, protection for you. Not as much, not as much. Typically about 80%. Now, is it free? No. Nothing in life is free. Come on now. Even when you go to church, is church really free? Not really. And you know, I'm a believer. But nothing in life is free. There's expenses. There's expenses to acquire it. There's expenses to get the reverse mortgage started and in play, just like if you were getting a mortgage to buy a property, similar kind of expenses for the reverse mortgage. And then remember, you're not making payments until there's a triggering event. You're not making payments until there's a triggering event, typically death. So 62. You live to be 102, 40 years. You've used up the money. Now you're dead. Now your estate has to square up with the reverse mortgage holder. And over those 40 years, from 62 to 102, every month, interest charges were building up. Fees for handling everything were building up. They paid your taxes. If they paid your taxes, that was adding up. Your homeowner's insurance, that was adding up because you still have to pay your taxes, your property taxes, and you have to maintain the property. The property must be maintained in a good condition, and you have to maintain homeowner's insurance, and then any other charges. So over the course of the reverse mortgage, the 40 years, all these other expenses are building up as well, because nothing in life is free. So you kick the bucket, then your estate has to settle up. Many times a property is simply sold because the property has increased in value. So there's enough money in that property to pay off everything that's owed for the reverse mortgage, and then some extra. Not always, but in general, because over 40 years, the property is going to increase in value. That, in a nutshell, is a reverse mortgage. It's just like buying a home, getting a mortgage to buy a home, except you already own the home, your primary residence, and now you're taking money out, but you're not going to pay it off until a triggering event, typically death. All right, my friends, I hope that gave you a little thumbnail or two of knowledge about reverse mortgage. Thank you for being my friends. Thank you for being my subscribers. And if you're not, boom, smash that subscribe. Boom, smash that like, share my video, tell your friends. And until next time, I love you all. See ya!